We are finally down to the pointy end of the season where everyone who isn't a KKR fan is suddenly worried about net run. And for the first time, there is actually a bit of sense happening on the table. But we are beyond the points here. We're about the rankings. Where should teams be based on strength of schedule and overall vibes? This is your IPL power list. We are here to make sense of the centless and rank each team. But we have a theme each week as well. And this one we're looking at the best old fella and most impressive youngster. Let us power rank.
I love cricket shirts. I own a lot of cricket shirts. But outside of getting dodgy ones off eBay, I've always felt like there was something missing in the market. And I'm not alone. Mystery cricket boxes were started for the same reason. In the old days, it didn't matter as much because we had like 8 different country shirts to buy, all in the same colors over and over again. Now we can own domestic and franchise shirts from all around the world. We can wear the best cricket designs. It's as simple as this. We love shirts and they send them to us worldwide. Mystery Cricket make a product for cricket fans because they are us. They get it. The more of us sign up, the more cool shirts they can go off and find. Many of us want to wear cricket on our chests. Let's back the company that supports that and sign up today.
RCB 1 versus Delhi and 1 versus Rajasthan. They've finally broken their winless streak at home, defeating, well, Rajasthan in a close game. So maybe it still wasn't that impressive. Their perfect record on their own continues after the win against Delhi, Josh Hazlewood and Krunal Pandya being the stars in the last couple of games. Hazlewood has the most wickets in the IPL 2025. He's also managed to do that at a normal Hazlewood-like economy. It's not that he's never taken T20 wickets before, but it's not really his main skill set. He's a defensive bowler first. So this is a huge win for RCB, the fact that he is just taking wickets everywhere he goes at the moment. And on top of that, he has an economy rate of 8.44, which is the third best of all quicks with 150 balls. He has completely dominated the power play, and he's been pretty good at the death, especially when needed. They've actually had a couple of older players doing well. Virat Kohli, Bhuvi Kumar, and Krunal Pandya as well. So the old fellas are standing up. Devdutt Padikkal wasn't really all that wanted. He was picked in the accelerated round, but he's had a clear role from day one, batting at number 3 and whacking it. So far, he's averaging 29 and a strike rate of 154. It might help them win the title this year, but it might be more important in the future if he can just continue to do this. And considering he made negative runs last season, it's quite the bonus. It is his 6th season, but he is still 24 years old. And another youngster worth looking at is Suyant Sharma, who doesn't seem to be taking any wickets at the moment, but is bowling really attacking lines right at the stumps, and no one is scoring off him. In the last 4 games, RCB have a pretty cruisy schedule. They're at home versus CSK, Sunrisers, and KKR. The only tricky game is going away against Lucknow. It's very possible they go 4-4, but 3-1 is not beyond them, and even 2-2, and they're still in a really good position. If they do win the 3 games, they are in a very good position to get their second chance in the playoffs, which, is just a huge bonus for them. Gujarat Titans lost versus Rajasthan. The first innings was a carbon copy of the Gujarat system this year, right? But then they were blown away by Vaibhav Suryavanshi, who tonked a 35-ball ton, the second fastest in IPL history. They lost with 25 balls to spare. I must admit, this game did spook me a little bit, but I'll explain that more later. After being released by Rajasthan Royals, Josh Buttler was signed for 15.75 crores, and he's taken up the number 3 role, and it's been very, very good. And he's had a couple of down years overall in cricket, I think, in the last little while. This year, he's been averaging 81 with a strike rate of 168. That is not a down year. And he's been magnificent in the middle overs, scoring 294 runs at a strike rate of 172. Sai Sudarshan is currently the top run scorer of the IPL with 456 at a strike rate of 150. The left-hander has continued to just never fail. He's got 1 single-digit score, crossing 30 every other time. Not sure anyone has been this consistent since Virat Kohli in 2016. Yes, they lost their last game against Rajasthan, and you can over-index that a little bit. But here's why it's spooked. It's because they played the exact way they always do. It's just that the other teams haven't been firing in that explosive batting that we've seen. Finally, when someone did it, they didn't really have a way of countering it because they do leave some runs out on the field. But I still think they should finish in the top 2. They're playing Sunrisers, then they're at Mumbai, at Delhi, versus LSG, and then versus CSK. So they've got 2 of the bottom teams to come up in the next 5. And outside of the Mumbai game, they should start favourites in 3 out of 5 of those games. 3 out of 5 is absolutely fine, and 4 out of 1 would be spectacular. Mumbai 1 versus LSG and 1 at Sunrisers. And of course, this is a team now on an absolute run. They defended over 200, as they quite often do, and they also chased 144. They currently have a very good net rate as well. Sky didn't actually have an awesome start to the season, as he got stuck in a couple of digs. But his current numbers currently read as 427 runs, an average of 61, and a strike rate of 169. He hasn't yet had a score under 25 this year, so the consistency as well is mind-boggling. Trent Boult and Hardik Pandya have also had pretty solid seasons with the ball, while Jasprit Bumrah has 9 wickets and an economy rate of 7.5, well, even though I don't even think he's bowled anywhere near his best so far. And Rohit Sharma has finally found some form, so the old guys are doing it for them. Tilak Varma is experienced but young. And earlier this year, he had some innings where I think he just got stuck a little bit. But when he broke out of that, he played some fantastic knocks as well. And it's certainly been one of their better younger players. Although of recent times, they haven't even needed him so much because the entire batting order has been working. Mumbai's next game is at Rajasthan, which on paper should take them to 7 wins. And they're definitely going to need that win because after that, they play versus Gujarat, at Punjab, and versus Delhi. They've had a pretty good run when it comes to scheduling in the last couple of weeks. They've got one more game like that, and then it gets very, very hard. Winning 3 out of 4 against these opponents is quite tricky. But let's say they lost the Gujarat game, right? If they beat Punjab and they beat Delhi, those are like double point games. And the Delhi games are at home, and they've been pretty good at home this season. Punjab have not actually completed a game since we last did the power rankings. They did score over 200 in that game as well. And so they were a pretty good chance of winning. Shreyas Iyer was the second most expensive player at the IPL in 2025. At the time, it was kind of hard to justify that, right? This year, he's playing the way that we always would have wanted Shreyas Iyer to play. He's averaging almost 50 at a strike rate of 182. He doesn't actually have that many runs because, again, he's coming a little bit more down the order, but he's been fantastic. Also, when talking about veterans, worth talking about Yusi Chahal, who started this tournament probably in some of the worst form he's ever had, and he's been really good since then, winning a game out of nowhere against KKR. These last 3 games, he's taken 7 for 75. Priyansh Arya is playing in his first season, and I think it was Ricky Ponting who said when they saw him in the nets, they realized how special he could be. So far, he's been one of the best players this year, and the left-hander has 323 runs in 9 knocks, an average of over 35, while scoring at more than 2 runs a ball. He somehow manages at the moment to score really quickly without taking many risks. It's like his boundary shots just seem safer than other players. All this might change as teams understand where to bowl to him better, but it's certainly a hell of a start. It's worth shouting out his partner as well, Prab Simran, who again has been very impactful. And if you looked at the team coming in, I actually really liked everything about this side except for the opening batting. At the moment, the opening batting might be one of the most exciting parts. And coming into the season, I was very high on Punjab, but the thing I was high on was everything else except for the opening batting. It's been the opening batting that has been magnificent. So Punjab have an interesting end to this season because they have to go to Chennai and play, and they have to go to Rajasthan. So those are the bottom 2 teams, but they're playing them away. At home, of course, they are playing all the other teams who are battling for those playoff spots. But it's not actually at home, is it? It's up in Dharamshala. So it's kind of a weird one. Are they playing 5 away games in some ways? 2 of them against teams they should win, and 3 against teams they are directly fighting for probably the 3rd or the 4th spot. Delhi lost at RCB and won at LSG. Remember that Delhi actually had RCB 26 for 3 while defending 162 before Krunal Pandya come in and played the match-winning innings with Virat Kohli being Virat Kohli at the other end. At one stage, had a massive chance of winning that game, and then they basically didn't get another wicket all the way through that innings. They chased down a similar middling total in their game against Lucknow. Batting primarily in the middle order, KL Rahul scored 364 runs in 8 innings, an average of 61, and a strike rate of 146. It is worth noting that he did get stuck a little bit in the last game, but generally he's been a lot better than that. Now, Kuldeep Yadav has certainly been their best player, but they kind of expected that. To get this kind of a strike rate and a new role out of KL Rahul, I think is a really important thing for Delhi. Their other key veteran is probably Mitchell Starc, who has been fantastic in some games and not so much in other ones. Tristan Stubbs has been absolutely magnificent. In fact, in the last game against RCB, the fact that he came in so low probably limited them, because had he come in just that little bit earlier, who knows what he could have done. Because on a pitch where no one from Delhi could score, he obviously could score. Batting at number 5 at 6, he scored 217 runs in 8 innings, an average of 54 and a strike rate of 164. Those are all very, very good numbers. He only has 1 single-digit outing, and he's crossed 20 in every other time. It's also worth mentioning Abhishek Parel, who's done quite well when he's come in at the top of the order, and Vipraj Nigam, who not only is taking wickets, but has sometimes slogged a few with a bat as well. Delhi have a bit of a tricky road ahead. They're playing KKR and the Sunrisers in their next 2 games, home and away. But their last 3 games are at Punjab versus Gujarat and at Mumbai. That means they are ending their season against a bunch of teams who are also trying to get in the playoffs. So for me, that means the next 2 games are really important, because if you look at Delhi at the moment, they have 6 wins. They can actually get to 8 wins quite quickly, and then they're in a very good position to make it to the playoffs. If they lose to KKR or Sunrisers, suddenly things get very messy very quickly, and there's a lot of teams on similar amount of points. And of course, they're also playing all those teams. LSG finally had the fall that we were kind of expecting, but hoping wouldn't happen. They lost at Mumbai and versus Delhi. Those are 2 good teams, so it's not like the end of the world. But they did also manage to dent their net run rate. And I think maybe most crucially of all, they're now a 50-50 team, and there's a couple of other teams that are not. But when we're talking about veterans, Nicholas Puran has been outstanding this year, scoring 349 runs in 6 innings at a strike rate of 215. Well, that's how it started. And then he had 3 low scores in a row before looking like he was finding a little bit of form again against Mumbai the other day. Even though it feels like half of his season has been in a slump, he's still one of only 4 players with more than 400 runs. But how about this youngster they found, Digvesh Rathvi, who's been incredibly effective, picking up 10 wickets in 10 games, but his economy of 7.75 has been incredible. He is a mystery spinner, and he bowls a little bit differently. He's very clever the way he thinks about everything. Teams will start to work out methods to play him better, but it feels because he has so many different tools in his kit, he's actually going to be able to work that out. He's a really, really exciting player. I honestly think it is very hard for Lucknow to qualify from here. Their next game is at Punjab versus RCB, at Gujarat, and then versus Sunrisers. I think they need to win 3 and 1. The last game against Sunrisers is a really handy one. Home game against a bottom team who might already have lost hope by that point. But their next game is on the road against a team who is also playing for a playoff spot. And then they're playing the 2 best performed teams in the competition so far. Going 3 and 1 in this just feels really hard. Like, forgetting the playoffs for a minute, I would have thought going 2 and 2 in this is a very reasonable, honorable thing to do. If they get the early season Puran back, anything could happen though, right? The other issue they have is, let's say they win 3 out of 4, which is certainly within the realms of possibility. But even if they do that, they finish on 8 wins. But at the moment, they have a negative net run rate. So they're going to have to win some of those games by a lot as well. I mean, their best chance of making it is probably winning all 4. KKR have not completed a game since we last did our rankings. They were probably going to lose to Punjab, but certainly had a chance of winning that one. Having a player who averages 22 with the bat at a strike rate of 175 while taking 7 wickets and an economy of 7.75 would be news for anyone else. But it's actually a bit of a downgrade on what Sunil Ryan managed to do last year. But again, he's been one of their most valuable players. Ajinkya Rahane should also be mentioned here. Specifically when it comes in the power play, is smacking the ball everywhere. Unfortunately, it's not working for him quite as much later on. And Krish Raghavanshi has been KKR's second highest run getter this year with 197, which already tells you a bit of the problems they've been having. But he's been averaging 39 with a strike rate of 149. And he's only 20, and I think he's looked really good in quite a few of his innings so far. When he manages to come in when the power play is on, which is a bit unfortunate because they've had so many players who aren't openers batting during the power play, he's also looked fantastic, almost scoring at 2 runs a ball. Again, like Rahane, he's really struggling in the middle overs. He might need to open into the future. One of the key issues KKR have had is they haven't really had many other young players stand up. Kolkata can end with 17 points if they win their next 5 matches. Their next match is against Delhi and at Delhi. That is really important. Let's say they win that. Their next 3 games after that are Rajasthan, CSK, and Sunrisers. They play RCB at the end of the season when perhaps players are being rested or they're not trying as hard because they've already qualified. All these sorts of motivational issues might come in at that point. So if they beat Delhi, they do have the opportunity to certainly go on a run and give themselves an opportunity to go against RCB at the end. Having said that, the way they have played this year, I just don't see how they win 4 or 5 games on the bounce. The Sunrisers won at CSK and lost versus Mumbai. Their bowling seemed a little bit better of recent times, but their batting has still just not come back. As far as veterans go, Heinrich Klaasen hasn't been at his best this IPL, but he's actually been more than fine. Average of 36, striking 156. He's also come in at positions where he probably wouldn't normally need to be used. Even Travis Head, if you have a look, is average 29 at a strike rate 159. Like, neither of these guys have done terribly. It's just that neither of them have been able to bat the way that they normally should be batting because so many wickets have fallen around them. But also in Head's case, he's just not in the best form, right? Abhishek Sharma has not quite Abhishek Sharma this year. I mean, he has in occasions, right? You know, that chase against Punjab was absolutely miraculous, and he's hit a couple of other decent sort of smaller scores as well. But it just hasn't worked as a match-winning combination the way it did last year. Aniket Verma has shown some decent promise, especially when smacking the spinners around. He scored 190 runs, averaging 27 at a strike rate of 161 with 16 sixes so far. He likes a six. It is technically possible for the Sunrisers to win 5 games and end up with 8 wins. The issue they have is that their schedule is really tough from here. So I just don't see how it's actually possible. The next game is away versus Gujarat. They've also got an away game versus RCB and an away game versus LSG, who might be playing for a playoff spot at the end. And they play Delhi at home. There's so many tough games. The softest game they have is the home game versus KKR. I just cannot see how they can win 5 more games. Rajasthan lost at RCB. And to be honest, they could have gone 2-0 in this. They only needed to chase 18 of the last 2 overs against RCB. But, of course, they made up for it with the game against Gujarat. In truth, none of the older players have been that great for Rajasthan, which I think is part of the issue, whether it be old batters or old bowlers. They've got some very experienced players there who just haven't worked. But if you're going to pick one, it would be Jofra Archer, who, when he has been good in the first couple of overs of the game, has been absolutely magnificent so far this year. And Nitesh Rana and Sandeep Sharma have put in good performances, just not been very consistent as well. Vaibhav Suryavanshi started the IPL career as a very young boy, hitting Shardul Thakur over cover. He finished with 30 off 24. That was a bit of a streaky innings, but it certainly showed his hitting capability. Since then, he's obviously done pretty good as well. I mean, that other innings was absolutely, it was miraculous. The way he almost threw himself off his feet, the striking, the confidence, the way he picked up the ball. He looks like he could be a good player. Let's not forget that Jaiswal is also very young, and Jaiswal's pretty good at cricket too. In fact, I'm not even sure that Jaiswal's had that good of a year, but his numbers look okay, and I think we all know he can do a lot better than this. Can Rajasthan still pull off an improbable comeback? I mean, probably not. They would have to win every single game. Their net run rate, even after the last match, is still very low, but they have had a lot of close losses this year as well. All things considered, I think it's much more about next year for them. CSK lost versus the Sunrisers this week. They were 114 for 4 after 12.4 overs when Jarrod Brevis was going mad, and then Kimber Mendes took a catch, which, to be fair, in the IPL this year is been pretty hard to do. Sunrisers stumbled a little bit, but still ended up beating them comfortably enough. Ravi Jadeja this year has 6 wickets in 9 games, an economy of 8.23. Weirdly, but this is a year where he probably needed to be bowled a little bit more and to use his overs out, just because Ashwin hasn't been as good and was eventually dropped, and it just, the partnership of those two hasn't come together the way that CSK would have seen it on paper. He's also been steady without being spectacular. He's also been steady and quite slow with the bat. It's a fine season without being in any way sexy. Problem is that he's the only veteran that you could really say this of. I mean, maybe the next best veteran is MS Dhoni, and at one stage they were batting him at 9. As far as youngsters go, though, Noah Ahmed has been just absolutely incredible in the IPL this year. Taking 14 wickets at an economy of just barely over 8. He seems to start every spell with a half cracker or a wide, which I love because that's a proper wrist spinner. And then after that, he's just like, now try and hit me. He has the second best strike rate of all the bowlers in this tournament so far, and 12 of his 14 wickets have come in the middle overs. He's just really good at cricket. I think he's finally understanding how much he can dominate. I think I saw somewhere this week that someone had worked it out, and mathematically, CSK had a 0.03% chance of making it to the playoffs. I once worked for a team that had that kind of a percentage chance, and we just had a discussion as the team and went, maybe it's not for us. So let's look at our list. Gujarat did shake me in the last game. I had them as number 1, and now I've set them down. And the reason being that if I had to worry about their team, it's the fact that they bat in a way where they are leaving some runs out there, but making sure that they can get consistent runs, and then their bowlers step up. And in the last game, their bowlers didn't step up. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it is a bit of a limited strategy, and we saw how it can be completely exploded. I don't think every other team's going to have an opener who's going to make 100 off 30 odd balls, right? But it's a question mark, and I didn't think there was that much between them and RCB anyway. But when it comes down to Bengaluru, I just feel they're a little bit more solid all the way through at the moment, and I feel like they've got more ways of winning a game. Mumbai have been on a charmed run, but I am pretty sold on them as a team. Delhi Punjab was a toss-up, and I think with the openers, I just like the Kings a little bit more, but they're in the same tier. I don't think there's really much between these sides, although I'm a little bit higher on Punjab qualifying than I am DC, which might have been why I ended up in this order. Lucknow I have as a tier below, and I'm selling them. I just don't see them as a playoff team, especially with their schedule coming up. It's very harsh. Kolkata, I still think some things can go right for them, but I've just lost hope in them at the moment. Sunrisers and Rajasthan are completely interchangeable here. Both of them can go on a bit of a run. I don't really expect it, but they could. CSK feels like the only team that is done emotionally and in cricket terms. And that's it. A power list for you, the people. Being that this list is absolutely impeachable, just tell me what your favorite fruit is in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share, and tell your mum about us. Ross Taylor couldn't see at night or when the clouds were in. Eventually, he had to see an eye specialist who would fix his eyesight. In the 2 years before the change, he still averaged more than 50 in international cricket. The top level of batting talent can basically see in the dark. That is who we are talking about in our new book, The Art of Batting. Head over and order your copy today.